Foundations of Health, which kind of touches on what Dr. Margaret mentioned about the therapeutic order. This is kind of the beginning. This is where naturopathic medicine shines. And every time I see a patient, I'm always checking to make sure that they have a foundation to build all the health that we're putting on. I'm not just going to throw a suitcase of supplements to you or, suggest a quick fix with a medication. We want to make sure that you're doing what you can to support anything else that you go through. So I'm going to hand out this little handout here on the Foundations of Health. And underneath it, let me grab a pen too. I have a little sign up because I'm going to do the whole long version of this with Lois here in January when anybody feels a little bit more riled up to get healthy. Who gets riled up before Thanksgiving? I don't know.
I know.
So January is a great time to start. If you want just somebody to be a rah-rah or somebody to check things off with it, I'm going to spend probably about an hour and a half going through the Foundations of Health and helping you figure out where you are on that. And that's really kind of sometimes when Margaret said that we spend an hour and a half to 2 hours with our patients. This is some of the stuff that I already work with patients on there. So what I often do too with the Foundations of Health is if you feel like you want to go another step, you get a nice little discount on your first office visit with me because you've already done the work. So the Foundations of Health, the whole concept is you can't take a whole bunch of pills like I talked about before and think that that's going to solve your problems. If you're eating a poor diet, if you're not sleeping, you're not going to get better. And it is amazing. I have gone through an hour and a half appointment with patients and realized at the end of the treatment plan, it's sleep 8 to 9 hours, make a priority. And then let's see if there's anything wrong with you afterwards. And it's amazing how people think that they can still get by with 4.5 hours of sleep, and that's why they don't realize that that's their energy problem. So that's one of the things. So I have on here a little table to remind us that there's 4 legs to stay stable on when you're building your health above this. And so the first one is sleep. And obviously the first thing is prioritize it. Make sure you're sleeping 8 or 9 hours. But if you're not sleeping 8 to 9 hours, then let's figure out why that is and look at some of the things that naturopaths love to do, like looking for the underlying cause rather than just throwing on a pill to make you groggy. Let's figure out why you're not sleeping. Are you spiking cortisol in the middle of the night? Are you thinking too much? Is your disease process right now waking you up in the middle of the night? We can work through those. The next one that I think people forget all the time, think that they can get by with it, is support. It's amazing how important it is to have a support system. And I don't know how many people have gone to their medical doctor and discussed their support system. What's their net? If everything's falling down, if you can't handle your health, if you're stuck financially in something, or you're just absolutely miserable and alone, how are you supposed to be lifting yourself up? We all need somebody else to help us with those bootstraps once in a while. And there are strategies I use. It's not easy to go outside and make a friend the next day saying, oh, you're going to be my support system, or let's get married, then I got my support system. There are steps to do, and that's part of a naturopathic treatment in my office, is I'll go through and let's discuss, let's brainstorm how we start making that support system. If you don't have it right now, what can we use as a crutch in the meantime? Therapists, massage therapists, somebody to talk to, even if you have to use your insurance to get that help. Sometimes people just need that touch once a week to feel like they fit somewhere in that world. The third leg is where I often refer to lovely Lois, because she is my hero when it comes to exercise. I have seen this woman do push-ups that just blow me out of the water. And the nice thing I love about Lois is that she does understand injury goes along with exercise when you're not thinking about it. And she's got a lot of interesting things like the shifter and stuff like that that can help make sure you're exercising right. So the first thing is, are you exercising at all? What kind of exercise makes sense? Are you ready to go Lois all the way marathon? Or are you so overwhelmed with your kids that the first thing I do is convince you to walk to the park and sit on a swing for 10 minutes straight? I've checked, you can raise your heart rate by sitting on a swing and swinging on it. So there's lots of different ways. You just got to figure out, you know, where you are now and what's the next baby step. These foundations of health aren't that challenging when you think baby steps. So it's that first little step that'll make me that much more. And it's amazing how powerful a little thing is, like 15 extra minutes of sleep because you've given up the snooze, or 15 minutes of sitting on the swing set. And then the last one is, of course, diet, and everybody knows naturopathic doctors talk about diet. And I always tell people, don't be afraid to see a naturopathic doctor, because we know that not everybody's diet is perfect. My favorite patient was a 3 times a day McDonald's eater, and we were so thrilled when we moved up to Taco Bell.
Oh.
Because then he got fiber from beans and he got a little veggie in. And from then on, I've actually seen this patient 10 years now, and he actually makes his own bean salad now. So you gotta figure out where that bottom line is, but I think that the toughest thing with naturopathic medicine, well, any of the medicines out there, is what diet to eat. There are so many diets out there. And so I came up with this like simple plate, and I'm so thrilled to see that the FDA is starting to copy me. Because this has been around for 10 years, and I think I saw FDA come up with it about 3 years ago. Anyhow, when you sit down on your plate, you should look at it, and as you can see, half your plate should be in those veggies area. And I actually separated out into your dark leafies and your other vegetables. It's not enough just to eat carrots and tomato or whatever. You need to get those dark leafy greens. It's not enough just to get the onion and the lettuce in your Taco Bell. You need to have the whole nice little variety there. And I do leave room for carbohydrates if you want them, but they're not necessary, because these actually are stocked full of carbohydrates. You can get enough. If you've eaten all your veggies, there's still room to eat some fruit, some potatoes or bread. And then the other, of course, essential thing is protein. I think that that's one that people don't pay close enough. If you're eating too much protein, you can be increasing inflammation in your system. If you're not eating enough, your body can't function, your immune system starts dropping, you can't do the basic functions that you need. So I have little formulas in here, and that's one of the things that we'll go through, checking fiber and details on protein and stuff like that. See if you got a basic diet that's supportive of your health, so that everything else can be built up on top of it. And another little piece I love in the middle is, don't forget healthy fats and lots of spices and herbs and wonderful treats. That's our antioxidants and our bioflavonoids are all hiding in those spices. Along with one other thing is, I always gotta mention this one. Most people don't think of strawberries or blueberries as a vegetable, but I do. When you think about it, it is a super nutrient dense food that doesn't have more sugar than its fiber level, so the sugars are not such a concern, and you can get so much. So I do consider those as those vegetables. So that's kind of that really basic foundation of health that we were talking about in that therapeutic order, touching on those really basics. And if there's something really missing in here, that might be the underlying cause that we're looking for to putting together somebody's health, to see what we need to build today and there. And from there, it's all the way up. I did notice I've got some information about the Lupus Foundations, because this is one of the people who I do this talk for. But so, yeah, is there any questions?
You didn't brag on yourself. How long have you been a doctor? And tell them your story a little bit.
Sure, I've been a naturopathic doctor in Minnesota since 2004. I actually started in natural medicine in '94. I went to Vienna and studied shiatsu. From there, I studied colon hydrotherapy while I was in medical school, which I started in '99, and so I've been practicing somewhere about 22 years now in natural medicines. And I practice in St. Paul, right off of the freeway, and I have a wonderful little home practice. I love to brag about that. I don't like the, for patients who have the fear of the white sheet and the white walls. I don't have a single white wall in my house, I don't think. Oh, one. It's a black and white bathroom. But yeah, because I love the comfort, I love the community. When I have a patient in my office, I want them to feel that they're part of a community, not going to a doctor's office. And so that's one of the reasons I moved my practice from Apple Valley into my home, so that I can be there for patients evenings and weekends and give them hugs afterwards. Okay, is that enough?
Anything else?